So thank everyone for joining. Again, we are here with our last someone you should know in University Park Black History Month special, where we introduce someone each week that we wanted to get to know, that was in our community or is a part of our community in some type of way, that we can know who they are and build relationships with through over our being as uh, neighbors here in the community. So that's what we're here doing. And today we have Mr. Matthew Simmons. He is a comedian. His comedic name is Mech Red, and he is here to tell us about himself. I sent over a different format, as in just basically to say, to talk first about who he is personally, his background, if there's a background with his work experience, also for us to know exactly what he does in the community and any affiliations he had with organizations or groups. So he can go right ahead, and we'd like to welcome you, Matthew Simmons. Thank you for joining.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Great.
Well, like she said, my name is Matthew Simmons. I didn't write down the criteria of the questions I'm to answer. They're still in my phone, so you're going to have to give me a couple questions so I can answer. But I do know I am from University Park, born and raised. I grew up right on Black Hawk Drive. That's where I actually met my wife. That's where my family kind of created our unit, if you will. I'm a former peer leader for the Village of University Park. Any and everybody who has been in University Park at least 20 years, I would say, has seen my face at some point somewhere in the village. I was a peer leader. I worked at the Regal Farm when it was, I don't want to say new, because that would mean I'm a little older than I look. I worked at Regal Farm for quite a long time. I was a camp counselor there, Parks and Recreations. Went to Hickory Elementary when it was called Hickory. I went to Hickory Elementary. I went to Creekmoney Middle School, graduated from Creekmoney High School in 2005. And I currently I reside just outside of University Park. Not many people can move too far from University Park because we're just drawn to this amazing place. I currently work as a professional comic in Chicago, Illinois. I don't know who's calling me, but people always want to call me when I start a meeting. So that's a quick rundown of who I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So hello.
Hello. Well, welcome. It's open for anybody to have asked questions. You can raise your hand, or you can just kind of chime in because it's not as many of us. But so, what type of comedian are you? What is your type of style?
Well, I would like to think that I'm a funny one. No, there's a lot of speculation on the different types of comics. They call them dirty comics, they call them clean comics, they call them Christian comics. I'm what some people would refer to as a clean comic. A nickname I was given once, it took me a while to really understand what they meant, but they called me the Bernie Mac of clean comedy. I don't know. What I found out later was that just means I'm not afraid to tackle subjects. I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind and what's on most of the people in the room's minds. So yeah, I'm a clean comic that performs any and everywhere.
Okay. And how long have you been a comedian?
I've been a professional comic for 12 years this November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have a question.
Go ahead, Gina.
Okay. Was it Matthew?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You said you graduated from Creekmoney High School 2005?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had 3 daughters there at that time. I don't know if you knew, there's a Gina Williams, a Candace Williams, and a Crystal Williams. And
Candace, very familiar.
Candace was in show choir, and her other two sisters were also in show choir and cheerleading. So
I'm trying to
I
put.
have to mention your name to them and see if they recall you too.
I'm horrible with names. Are they light skinned sisters?
Yes, yes.
I know exactly who they are. Yeah, I was. My brother was the drummer for show choir, so the eldest of the three may know him. My brother, that's just over me, and myself, we were both in crew in show choir, and so was my wife. She was also in crew as well.
Oh, okay. So you were there when Mr. Neubauer was still there, or was it Mr. Clark at that time?
I was there right when Mr. Neubauer made his transition out, and Mr. Clark took over.
Yeah. Okay. 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 And I remember a lot of the crew members too, and the drummers and things.
Yeah, my brother Michael was the drummer, little skinny kid, and my brother
Okay.
Marcus and I were crew members.
Okay. Okay. So I know I've seen you before because I went to every competition, in state, out of state. When they went to Disney World 3 times, I was there.
Yep, that's where I hung out.
Okay. That's great, and I'm glad to hear you're a comedian. And do you do birthday parties and different things like that? If somebody wanted to have you come out to their church or an event, a family reunion.
Absolutely, I've done um, a ton of birthday parties. That's family reunions, church events, in literally any event that they would like to try to add an element of funny on.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay. Great. Because
Hmm.
I know a couple of years ago I went to the library had their Christmas party and they had a Christian comedian and man was he funny imitating church people and
Yeah.
talking about Noah and the Ark and what really took place. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes, I love clean comics. I'm a big fan of Sinbad and a big fan of Bill Cosby because they don't have to curse and go up under your clothes to make a joke. I love clean comics. I was disappointed because one year I went to the Star Plaza to see Jamie Foxx, and he's really funny and he could play the piano. He was singing, but when he came out for his second half after the break, oh my God, everything was X-rated. I was ready to leave. I couldn't
Went to the
believe some of the
left.
stuff he was saying. I was like, oh my God, Jamie, please. I had a good image of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's one thing that I definitely take value in. When I started doing comedy or started performing on stage, really, with an actual microphone in my hand, I started at the middle school. It was called, I think it's called the Sixth Grade Center now.
Yeah, it
But I
was
started,
at one
yeah, I started Monday Middle School, and I was hosting talent shows for WUPC TV 10, home of the young broadcasters.
Oh,
The
okay.
first talent show I did there, I actually hosted. Yeah, I actually hosted the first talent show there with my wife. Well, then she was just my friend. She didn't know it yet. Speak those things into existence.
That's right.
Um, and from yeah, and I just did talent shows every year there. And from then on, when I decided to really take comedy as a profession or performing as a profession, I made a promise to my mother that no matter where I perform, she'll be able to come in and sit down and enjoy her son telling jokes on stage. And from that point on, the last 12 years, I've never said a foul word on stage. I'm not gonna lie, in traffic, I can't make that same promise. I really can't. But on stage, my mother can come into any room, no matter if it's in a comedy club or the church house. She can come into any room and enjoy her baby telling jokes.
That's
Oh, great, great.
Yes.
that's
Do
int-
you have a page
Hmm.
on Facebook?
She said, "Do you have a page on
Yes, I
Facebook?"
have several pages. Yeah, I have a fan page and just my regular Facebook page. Both can be searched by just typing in comedian Mac Red, MacRed.
Okay, I will do that. Okay.
So let me just,
Hmm.
let me say, Bill Cosby was not a clean comic. I actually went to one of his shows. He was the to me,
Mm.
he was the foulest person that comedian that show that I ever been to.
Really?
Yes,
Oh wow.
on
I
TV he was one
Really?
way, but when I went to his actual show, because I was thinking the same thing that it would be a clean event. I mean,
uh-huh.
he was all over the place. It was the foulest person that I've been to. Put that out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't.
What's
Ooh.
fun, what's interesting, what's interesting is when I first started comedy, I actually got on stage. I don't know, I was in my 20s, and I was telling Bill Cosby and Sinbad jokes. I was cracking jokes about the 70s. I wasn't here in the 70s. I don't know anything about the 70s. I just know what I've been told. And and I got on stage talking, saying all of the clean things that I've seen. But I've also heard stories that Bill Cosby, when the cameras aren't on, he can get a little you can get a little rough on the ears.
Yes. He was
Mm.
really rough on the ears. Like we had to actually leave. Um, but just to go back into
Oh wow.
yeah, Matthew, that's good to hear that you were hosting the talent shows with the broadcasting station. That's really something that I think would be very good here in University Park if you was to be able to help host or sponsor an event like that.
Absolutely. I've been trying for a couple years actually to bring a comedy show or a talent show or just something to give back, to the community where I honed my skills, for stand up comedy or just on stage performances. Um, yeah, I would love to, get on stage and host something or just do something in University Park. I don't know. I haven't been to the new middle school, so I don't know. It's new to me. It's probably old, to a lot of the students that go there now, but I know they built on it. Um, I would like to host or do any kind of performance for University Park. Absolutely.
Mhm. I don't
Yep.
know if many people
Miss
remember.
Millie, you had.
Yeah, I don't know if many people remember, but you was with Young Broadcasters, and you used to video all of the Village Hall meetings and different special events, parades, and
Yeah,
things for many years, many
yeah.
years.
I was I was the one kid in the room, during the village hall meetings, during the campaigns.
Mhm.
I was that child. I knew all the trustees, mayor, all kinds of things. I want to say when I got started, uh, Mayor McCowan was the mayor at the time, and I kind of stuck to his hip and worked with him, and I was probably the only teenager that was able to go in the back in the village hall and set up the camera and do all kinds of things with the village at a very young age. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, we definitely can use some of that knowledge. I don't know about we tried to get the use of that cable station, the TV station, but just haven't been able to get that program back started, the young broadcasters. But definitely I can see how you can help with putting together a talent show and hosting that and you know seeing which ones are just getting something going here. And I know that's something
Yeah.
that Russ was talking about trying to do out there in Regal Farm. That might be a location that we could do it doing the outside one time. So I don't know. That might be something to look
Mhm.
into. Yep. So
Oh yeah. I've been wanting to host. I don't know if it's can be considered a master class, but just a seminar, if you will, because in this world of comedy or stand up, performances, it's not as broad as one would think. We there's a lot of it's a small circle of people. There's been times I've been on stage or I've been at a performance and a comic who I thought was just, superstar status, walks in to perform. And I'm like, why are you here? Oh, I know so-and-so. Well, I know so-and-so. Oh, well, let's trade information. So I did want to host some type of event that, kind of, I don't want to say a showcase, but it kind of, help coach, the youth or young people how to, if they're into entertainment, how to do it the correct way. What hurdles to kind of avoid, what things to do, people you should know, and just, kind of help coaching the next generation of entertainers how to get into this industry.
Yeah. So what do you think about, how the comedic era these days when it comes to this whole cancel culture that they're doing about the different comedians on what you can say and what you should say and what you shouldn't say? What's your perspective on that?
Well, you want me to be honest with you?
Yes, that's all we
Okay. Well, I completely, sometimes I agree, most of the time I disagree. Meaning, or reason being, is I have felt for years that comedy was the last true art form. A lot of people don't really realize it, but a lot of people come to see comedians to hear the truth, or to hear, just an honest perspective of what's going on. Excuse me. And now that the world has taken a turn into being extremely sensitive and delicate with how they want to be entertained, it kind of puts, us as comedians, it kind of puts us in a box. I don't mean get on stage and offend people, because that's never been, what I enjoyed. It's never been what I like. But, being able to get on stage and just really exercise your freedom of speech and really exercise your own personal, ideology of how life is. Now that's halted. If you say the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong people, your whole career is over.
Right.
Oh, I don't agree with Trump. I don't agree with Biden. Cancel. I don't agree with sugar and grits. I don't agree with salt and grits. Cancel. Like, it's just, everybody's extremely sensitive now. And there's, a few comics that I've come across that are just, I'm gonna say what I say. I'm gonna say how I feel, and it is what it is. Like, in 2022, if Richard Pryor were to come out today, his comedy career would barely survive.
Right.
And it's not to say that, Bernie Mac as well. That's not to say that they're not funny, because they're legends. Same with Eddie Murphy. It's just the country is so sensitive on what they want to hear. They want to be entertained, but they want to be entertained how they think entertainment should be. And in my opinion, that's not fair to entertainers, because if I get on stage and my thing is talking politics, I have to be careful, because somebody in the room might be a Democrat. Somebody in the room might be a Republican. And if I say the wrong thing about the wrong group, I'll never be able to work in Denver again. I honestly feel that the state of comedy now is, a lot of comics are nervous to get on stage.
Right.
And that's just,
I agree.
it frustrates me, because this is my craft.
Yeah, I agree everything that you said, because I when I see that, it's kind of like the purpose of you going there. You know exactly what you're going there for. Is for a joke. It's
Right.
for that comedian to be able to say the things that they feel, a freedom of speech, and they already know the background of a lot of these comics anyway. So why are you surprised when they make this particular statement or comment? And now it's like, wait a minute, why did they say that? It's like, you knew they was going to say that. It's okay to say that. So it's just like, I know it's so difficult for you all to try to, I would think that when y'all get there, y'all have to like scan the room, even though you have to scan the room anyway, but you got to scan the room to make sure you like, you know what? I'm not going to say that joke today because I see that there might be somebody in this crowd that is offended by it. And that shouldn't be like that. So that's why
Yeah,
I'm thinking how difficult it would be as a comedian these days. Like you said, back in the day, you could say any and everything, and that's what they did. But now
right.
it's kind of like,
You
and when they
can't.
say with this social media that they can make or break your career, if you really, like you stated, your career could be over with. Go
in
ahead.
in one click of a button.
Yes,
I don't think that that's fair, though. I really don't. And
me either.
I think what I base that on, I like a little dirty humor. I like a little dirty humor. I'm just being honest. I came up through with the Richard Pryors and the Moms Mabley. Well, Moms Mabley was way, way, way over my head, but with Eddie Murphy. What's the big guy? Tornado, or
Yeah,
what's his name?
earthquake.
Earthquake.
Wait,
Yeah. And when they had comedy that came on, I think Channel 32 or Channel 26, and all those big comedians that came on every Saturday. My husband and I, we just roared laughing because of the different things that they said, were talking about life, and also the way that they said it, which kind of showed how people said it back then. It was funny. It really was. So I don't. I think when people go to see a show, they have to just be open and not being sensitive about stuff. I can't remember this older white guy. He was Jewish, little short guy. He was hilarious, but he was insulting, and
mhm.
he said some things that was really quick humor about demeaning somebody. I can't remember his
Was
name.
it Don Rickles?
Don Rickles.
Yeah, yep. Hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
Don Ring was he that's a legend there. Oh
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's one of
Don
the
Rickles is hilarious.
was
You know,
hilarious.
absolutely.
his humor was just really quick, and you just really had to have, you had to be mentally prepared to withstand his tough humor. If you're sitting there and he sees you, and he'll just as soon crack on you while standing right there by you in the audience. So, and I think that's
Absolutely.
what people kind of liked that at that time. I don't know, where do you think people, why do you think people are becoming so sensitive that comedians have to guard what they say? Why?
The reason honestly, I think people are sensitive because it's allowed. Back when Don Wrinkles was running rampant, I specifically remember he was, I forget whose inauguration dinner it was, but he was cracking jokes on the president.
Oh, I love it
And
when they roast them.
you know, yeah. And at the time, he wouldn't allow you to be offended, because he'll tell it's just jokes. If,
Right.
if you're mad, you can get out. It's just jokes, And now, if you offend somebody, you have to apologize.
Mhm.
They've made it to the point where you have to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. And then you got to make a whole press conference and, oh, I'm sorry. Like Kevin Hart was taken off of the Oscars because of a tweet that he made, a decade before about his son being gay. Now, that may have been a little tough of a statement to say about your son, but it was all in humor, and he LOL, laughing my butt off. He put all of those, innuendos on there, but the fact that he said it shut his career down for a minute, and they forced him to go on and apologize. So the reason why I think everybody's, so easily offended now is because it's allowed. When I was growing up, and I'm still growing up because I'm only in my 30s. When I was coming up, when I was growing up, you had to be able to laugh at yourself. If you slip and fall, ha ha ha, get over it. You know, if you make a bad call or make a bad move, get over it. You know, don't be so high on yourself that you can't laugh at yourself. Now, if you laugh at somebody or you laugh at yourself or whatever, it's a hate crime. It's depression. It's my daughter really likes her movie, so she decided to scream. I don't know. You know, it's you're not allowed to laugh at yourself or anyone else anymore. You know, because it's now it's offensive. Now it's body shaming. It's, you know, I had a joke a while ago where I was talking about how really big people get out of chairs, you know, and I said it at a comedy club, and what I said was, I said the way people really big, and I'm a big guy myself, so I was bigger, so I know when big people get out of chairs, they have to rock. They can't just stand up. They gotta wind themselves up so they can get up. The room died laughing. It was great. Ha ha ha. The next night, I ended up doing the same joke, and somebody pulled me aside and said, "That's offensive." Because my brother's nephew's cousin is a fat kid, and that's body shaming.
Oh,
I'm like, well, was he here tonight? No. Well, then, okay, it's fine. You know, people find ways to be offended, you know, because it's allowed. It's allowed. That's why I think, you know,
and to be honest, I think it hurts comedy because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've gone to several comedy things over the past year or so, and all they can talk about is sex, right? That's it. And I feel the reason why all they talk about is just sex, having sex, is because they can't talk about anything else, right? So they afraid to say anything else, right? So sex is safe. So all we gotta do is talk about having sex, doing sex, what we do, sex. But what about all the other jokes? I mean, I swear, I mean, it's just that's all I hear, and I'm like, so it's hurting the comedy field to me in general because everybody is afraid to tell a joke because of this fear of being canceled, because so many people are so sensitive about everything. We knew back in the day, these were jokes, these are comedies. We talked about ourselves, our own people every day. To some extent, you know what I'm saying? So why are you now offended when a comedian does it? So I just see that it's hurting the profession itself, and I'm giving it one more chance. I'm going to Kevin Hart in July in Vegas, so I'm gonna give him a chance and see how he do.
Before you go to Kevin Hart,
no, I'm gonna go to yours too. I'm going to yours. I'm gonna let you say yours.
Mac Red and Pop Forward. You know,
I am gonna go to yours too. But I went to Cat Williams the last time, and I seen the other one. I mean, all of them. I mean, if we all know it's sex out there, but it's not funny. Can you tell another joke? Your whole hour set should not be about just the one thing because you're afraid to talk about others. Yeah. So that's what I feel. It's just the profession is being affected by it, and I wish more people. I know a lot of people can't because they're not the Dave Chappelle's who got the money and say, I can say, you know, forget about it. I don't care what you say. And then Netflix is going to keep you anyway. So everybody's not a Dave Chappelle. And I know this is their profession and this is their livelihood. But to me, it's hurting the profession in general.
Absolutely. Like I went to a comedy club in Chicago, downtown Chicago, the Laugh Factory. And they several comics, you know, they got on stage, you know, if they, like you said, if they weren't talking about sex, they were talking about drugs, and it was one or the other. You know, it was very rarely that you got a guy just talking about life, right? You know, yeah. So I was snorting this cocaine. It's like, wait a minute, we're doing that legally now? What's happening? Like that's all they talk about, you know, and. Absolutely. The craft is definitely taking a hit because people are nervous to get on stage and be themselves. But then you got a few of us comics that are just like, I'm gonna do what I do. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's it. Oh well.
I agree.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you do improv, McRed?
I'm sorry.
Do you do improv?
As far as like with the
As
sketch,
a comedian, yes, improv stuff like that. I think those are funny, but I don't know if that's part of your
well,
something.
what not really. I would say the closest thing I do to improv, I've done it uh, over the last 12 years several times. There's a segment in my shows I used to do where I would just open it up to, I would call it the town hall moment, where I would just open it up to conversation with the audience, and I would ask questions, and based off what they said, I would turn it into a joke somehow. So it really, that is, I would say, the closest thing I got to improv, because I had to think on my feet, because I never knew what people would say, how they would say it, So it was just, a couple times it didn't, I'm not gonna say it worked every time. A couple of times it definitely blew up in my face, you know. But there are several times where it's a perfect moment. I'll ask the right person, the right question, and it'll just hit a spiral into several jokes that last another 15, 20 minutes, So I would say that's probably the closest thing I do to improv.
Okay.
Can you do some improv now?
I'm sorry?
Can you do some improv now?
Oh, well, you can go to YouTube, and you can YouTube past work.
Well, I agree to the fact that I believe, because I like all kinds of comedy. I'm sorry, I like to laugh. I don't care if it's a dirty joke, funny joke, good joke, whatever. I like them all.
Funny is fun.
You're right, and I love Kevin Hart, so I envy you, Donna. But the thing is, on these superstars, if you're a fan, you're a fan, and that's just all to it. If you like Kevin Hart, you know what you're gonna get. That's just all to it. Now, if you're coming up and I really don't know your background or know much about you, I may be shocked about this and that. But people who are Kevin Hart's fan or any other comedian that's just tell like it is, you either like them or you don't. Because if you have certain feelings or whatever, I think you ain't gonna want to go to Kevin Hart because he just throws it out there. So absolutely. I would do background check if I'm picky about a comedian to see if I would, feel safe, going to that, because I do feel sorry for people who sit right in the front row.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. If you're gonna go see a comic, I would definitely, if you can, I would encourage doing your homework on them. But I wouldn't say do an extensive amount of homework, because a lot of comics recycle their material, and I would hate for somebody to go to a show and they feel like they've seen it already. Mm-hmm. But I would definitely kind of, look at some reviews, or, Google or YouTube one or two of his jokes, right, or her jokes, because women can be comedians too. Right. Mm-hmm. I would do a little bit of where you can see a comic. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how you doing, Mac Red?
Ooh, I know that voice.
How's everybody tonight?
Hey,
that's
my house.
I would encourage anybody going to see that Wayans guy. Oh my goodness.
Which one?
That was a horrible.
Marlon.
Huh?
You mean Marlon?
Yes, that was a horrible experience for me. I was traumatized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Traumatized. Uh-oh.
I was traumatized. I would advise anybody going to see him to know what you're going to hear. Do your background check on him.
Yeah, he is definitely the rougher comic of the bunch. Absolutely.
rougher. He is raunchy as raunchy can be.
Yeah.
And my little saved ears couldn't take it.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's one thing to
Yeah.
tell a
He's
dirty
rough.
joke, but it's another when they get too far. They go graphic in descriptions, and it gets to
Yeah.
be way too much. And that's why I said when Jamie did that the second half, I'm like, I'm ready to leave because I couldn't sit
Yeah.
through that. I couldn't, But I didn't get that with when I saw Bill Cosby. I saw him at Governor State University, and he had the stool, and he made jokes, and he asked people
Oh,
questions, and his stuff at that time it was very clean. He didn't say anything that I cringed or felt bad. I saw Chris Tucker. He was good with his imitations of Michael and different people. He was really hilarious too. He does a little dirty, but not that long, so I could sit through him.
But you also got to remember the venue where they're performing at too. Like you said, he was
Yeah,
at
that's true.
Governor State. Governor State.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He would change. He was able to change up his set. But
Right.
I'm telling you, when I say that I walked away, and this was in my 20s or 30s. Yes, we left. That I mean, I swear that it was just way, way out there. That it's just I guess because I was expecting him a certain way, even though I wasn't in that total sense, but he was just way out there. It wasn't funny, it was just raunchy, straight raunchy. So,
I would.
but
What,
that was
what
for me.
Right. I
I
can't.
would say what helps your experience going to comedy shows, because I had to learn this as well, was go in with open expectations. If you're going to see a comic, you're going to see him because what you've seen on TV or on flyers. They're going to be completely different.
Right.
Comedians are always different when you see them live. Some better, some worse. But if you go in with an open mind, it may be an easier pill to swallow, because you're not going in expecting them to talk about, Jello pudding. You know what I'm saying? They're not expecting him to really talk about Camille and his kids. You're kind of just here to see Bill Cosby live,
Right. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Well, who is your favorite comic? Your
My
favorite
favorite
comedian?
to date, as of right now, my favorite comedian, honestly, is Dave Chappelle.
Okay. Yes, he is good.
Not so much because he's a genius. But when I look at comedians, I dissect them because I'm in the craft. I kind of look at it from the other perspective, not just as a fan, but I have to kind of dissect them as a person. I really enjoy his willingness to test himself on stage. How he writes his material. There was a special, that he wrote, and he said he wrote a punchline, and he doesn't know the joke of it, but I wrote a punchline, and I'm gonna tell you the punchline. Then he said the punchline, and he said, I don't know where it's gonna fit in the show, but when it hits, it's gonna knock your socks off. I guarantee it. And then he carried on with his show.
Right.
And he hit him with the punchline. Audience fell out. And he was like, "Boom! Told you. That's why I make the big bucks." And it blew my mind, because I'm like, you told them that the joke was coming, and they still didn't see it coming. And then he says what he wants to say, how he wants to say it. It's just, as a comic, that's like a Mount Rushmore style comedian. Somebody who's just willing to do and say whatever they want, and then still get what we in the comedy world consider the Oscar of comedy. It's called the Mark Twain Prize. He still receives that after, saying everything he wanted to say about he called them the alphabet people, which is the LGBTQ community, what he wanted to say about, women's rights, the police. He just said what he wanted to say, and they still honored him at the highest level. Gold. So Dave Chappelle, hands down, is my favorite right now.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of my cousin, Preacher Lawson?
Preacher Lawson. Yeah, I know Preacher Lawson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. He's been on
America's Got Talent. He has a couple comedy specials out too. He has
right,
dreadlocks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly who that guy is. Good dude. Funny. Yeah, very funny.
He is. He's funny.
Very funny guy.
He makes my jaws tired.
Yeah, that guy he is silly. He's pretty good.
Can you tell us what in your upbringing that instilled comedy into you?
When I was young, honestly, my story is kind of a lot like most comics. I was that kid that was outspoken and silly, and my grandmother noticed that I was funny, and she put me in front of the family and said, "Make us laugh," And I honestly, the first person I saw on stage that made people laugh was my pastor, the late great Apostle Dr. Clifford Turner. I didn't know how to make people laugh on a large scale, and he'll be preaching, he'll crack jokes, and the whole room will laugh, and I'm like, wow, this is cool, and he kind of showed me that it's okay to laugh in church. Fantastic. And then as I lived, if you will, I learned that there was this phenomenal comic who didn't look like me, and he wasn't from Chicago. He's from a small place called Canada, and his name was Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. When I learned about Jim Carrey, I thought I found the Holy Grail. I said, this man is he does characters. He can make his face look weird. He bends his arms in weird ways. This dude must be an alien. And from that point on, honestly, you can ask my mother. I still do it to irritate my wife to this day. There is no Jim Carrey movie that I can watch that I can't quote start to finish,
Wow.
And he really kind of showed me how to be silly, but in front of people, because I would make faces and voices or whatever when I was a kid, but I would only do it in the mirror. Then he was like, he started doing it, or he would do it in front of people and on Living Color. And my grandmother saw me do it once, and she really pushed me to, make us laugh. I don't do them anymore, but do a voice, change a voice, do this, do that. And that started my love of, making people laugh. And then when I got into high school, I midway through my sophomore year, junior, one of the years where I was in high school, I ended up transferring and going to another school. And the teacher, she, at the end of class, my last class, she would carve out, I think it was like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to just let me be silly. She heard me in the hallways cracking jokes, and her name was Miss Calhoun. I'll never forget her. She, at the end of class, she said, Matt, come up here. And I went up there and she said, all right, do your thing. And okay. And I got to talking, and, at the time, it was the Kings of Comedy was out. So I would do Bernie Mac's set, but without the cuss words. And I would get up there and just do it. Class would die, and then we would leave class. And that turned into a love of entertaining groups of people. And then, from then on, it just kind of grew. And I was like, I can make a little money doing this.
They gonna pay me to do this.
I kind of turned that into a career, and it's 12 years later in the profession. I've honestly, if I had to count, I probably have been doing some form of comedy 20 years, maybe. If I calculate the, standing in front of my grandmother, she's demanding me to make her laugh, or, stand in front of the class, I'd say I've been doing some form of stand-up comedy for about 20 years now.
Wow.
So,
But it sound like
Yeah,
that was a good question, Mildred, because that gave he gave a little more insight into how he got started. And it sounded like you had a lot of some support from family and even teachers, which is good. That helped influence you and push you to be where you at. Because that's
well,
important. Yeah.
It was one teacher specifically. A lot of my other teachers, I was labeled as the class clown, interruptive student, and had several hiccups coming up as a kid. But Miss Calhoun, if I'm able to ever find her, I would literally just give her a hug and thank her, because what she did for me was she showed me that as a child, she showed me that there was nothing wrong with me. She showed me that I'm okay how I am. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to be funny. You just need a place to do it. And she gave me that place to do it.
Mm-hmm. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do the comedians get to have those big venues?
A lot of work.
Okay, so they're pulling that together, all themselves with a staff of people, or do you have to get so big to be able to do that?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I did 2 years ago, I did a performance at the Freedom Hall Theater in Park Forest. And they would ask me, how large is my following? What's my social media handles? What's this? What's that? Because they want to anticipate the crowd that they're going to get. But if I were to call the United Center and say, hey, I want to do a show here, their mindset is, okay, $500,000, the building's yours. So after a while, in the beginning, it's all about the almighty dollar. But if Kevin Hart would call and say, hey, I'm coming to Chicago and I want to do the United Center, they're not going to ask for money up front. They're just going to say, okay, give us a date and we'll
Kevin Hart.
Exactly. So it ties into how much work you've put in, which generates a stronger name for you.
Mm-hmm.
If Joe Schmo from New Orleans comes up and goes, I want to do comedy here, $500,000. Kevin Hart, I want to do comedy here Thursday, building's yours, because they know automatically, not only is he going to pack the building out, he's going to generate a high level of revenue for the building. People who didn't know the United Center was here, I don't know where they live, but people who didn't know this building was here now know where the building is, so they'll come see the Blackhawks, they'll come see the Bulls, they'll patronize the building. They'll buy food, they'll buy this, they'll buy that, they'll take pictures, they'll post it. So they're looking at, like, Kevin Hart is here. This 5'5" guy is here. He'll not only bring a large amount of people into this building, but more eyes outside of the building will see as well. So his name, even with Dave Chappelle, if Eddie Murphy came back, I guarantee you he could sell out the United Center. Anybody who has a large or a heavy name, that's what gets them the larger venues, but a little old guy, he just gotta pay for it. That's all.
But they welcomed you in Park Forest, right?
Oh yeah, they were really excited. They were more excited when they saw the check cleared, but they were they were excited that because that theater that I used, I didn't know at the time, that theater that I used is more so for the performing arts, which, you know, stage plays and lectures and things like that. So when I said I wanted to do a comedy show, they were like, there's another theater up the street. You know, why do you want to come here? I've always liked the building. And, you know, when I told them this is what I want to do, this kind of comic I am, you know, I even had the wonderful lady, after I taught her how to use YouTube, because she was maybe 1,000 years old, she logged on and searched my name and, you know, saw what kind of comedy I did. And she was super excited. Super excited to have me.
She was how old?
She was about 1,000. Maybe 999, but she was up there. You know, but what she really liked is she told me I could come back anytime. What she really liked was our housekeeping. When we came in, we didn't make a mess. We didn't break anything.
Right.
When we left, I think we left 45 minutes before the contract stated that we had to leave. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I didn't hire a cleaning crew. I went through there, you know, myself with brooms and dustpans. And I mopped and, you know, I put stuff back. I cleaned up, you know, put tables up. I, you know, left the building how I found it.
Right.
And she fell in love with it. She was like, you know, normally people just leave this building a mess, but, you know, I could tell you have home training. I was like, yeah, my mother probably would punch me in the forehead if she heard that I tore up a dressing room. So I made sure everybody was on their P's and Q's. So after that, she was like, oh, you can come back anytime. I said, for free? She was like, no, you're going to pay, but you can come back.
But at that time, you didn't live in Park Forest, right?
No.
So now you live in Park Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, now I live in Park Forest, so it's a little different from it now. It's a little, and my small following has grown a little bit since then. So yeah, it's a little different now. And I think it's been 2 years since I've been there. So yeah.
Cause they let me I rented that place before when it was a play there. And I just had my sister weekend. And during the intermission, the people that attended the play could come out and meet the Bruce sisters. I made my sisters famous that night from the people that came to the play.
There you go. Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matthew, could you please let us know about, I know you said your Facebook page is just go by Mac Red, and then let us know about your upcoming show. I know you have one coming up. Could you please just put it out there so when we do post this on the YouTube channel and back on Nextdoor, they would be able to know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have a performance March 18th, 2022, which is next month. We're going to be at All Nations Worship Assembly, Chicago South Campus, which is right down Western Avenue, 2901 Western Avenue to be exact.
What's the name of the place?
All Nations
Worship Assembly.
I love that church.
All Nations.
Pastor Matthew Stevens.
Well, it's the sister church to the church you're referring to is the one in
Chappelle.
Yeah, this is another location. It's called the South Campus. So he built one, or created one rather, in right up the street on Western Avenue.
Who's the pastor over at that one?
Pastor Josh Hart.
Josh Hart, okay.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful man. But yeah, we'll be there March 18th. It'll be myself. I have 3 phenomenal comedians coming with me. This is an all new experience that I've generated, that I've created. It's called the Mac Red Room. And the reason why I called it the Red Room is it's something that came from me, from my heart. I've always wanted to have an area where comics can come and just be themselves and just be honest. And that's what this room is. I have a wonderful young lady by the name of Lady Lunchabelle. She'll be coming in there and performing, doing what she does best. One of my near and dearest friends, comedian Tony K. He's the head of the founder and CEO of the Christian Comedy Network. So he'll be in the building doing what he does best, making you all laugh. And then one of my closest friends in the world, comedian Travell Judon, he'll be there rocking the house, doing what he does best. Travell actually hosted the Kirk Franklin Long Live Love tour and the Jonathan McReynolds Make More Room tour. And he's done a ton of things around the country and around the world regarding the comedy. And this night is a very important night for me. I haven't been able to perform at this magnitude in over 2 years because, COVID came and shut it down. But with this night, we will be following CDC guidelines, temperature checks, masks, free hand sanitizer, whatever you all need, wash your hands twice. It's a 2 cough max. If you cough 3 times, you got to go home.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, March 18th, it's a Friday night at 6:00. Tickets can be purchased on eventbrite.com. If you go to Eventbrite, you can type in the search engine Mac Red, and tickets will come up. Or you can see my lovely mother-in-law. She has a few more tickets left. It would mean the world if you all were able to relieve her of every one of those tickets legally. Let's not steal legally. Yeah, tickets only $20. We spend more than that on Kevin Hart tickets. We spend more than that on Chappelle tickets. We spend more than that on pretty much anything. But this is a community event. A lot of these people are from around this area. And this is something that I'm looking at bringing annually to the South suburbs. And I really, really would like to see what I call my family, University Park, Park Forest, really University Park. I would love to see University Park come out and represent and really show some love to one of their own. And a buddy of mine, actually, he's a resident of Richmond Park, not too far up the street. He has a clothing line and he sponsored this event. So everything that I'll be wearing that night is sponsored by Arts Major Apparel. He actually designed a hoodie for me, and it's on his website, artsmajorapparel.com. And it's called the Branded X Mac Red official hoodie. And when you see it, you'll fall in love with it. So you should just go get one. But yeah, Mac Red Room, March 18th, Friday night.
Will he have those hoodies out for sale? Because I like to have one. I love red.
Well, they're black hoodies with a hint of red. But yes, they will be there and on sale.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
So yeah, you can get tickets from Miss Millie. You can go to eventbrite.com. You can inbox me at Comedian MacRed on Facebook, or I am MacRed on any social media handle. Or I'm at All Nations Worship Assembly every Sunday after service. There's a ticket booth there. You can come and get tickets from me personally. So there you go.
Millie, you got to push those tickets more.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
You got to get up and move it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I didn't want to give them prematurely because I don't want you to lose them. So I have envelopes. And if you want 3, 4 tickets, I put it right in the envelope. And $80 to $100. And you'll keep up with them. I promise you.
Here you go. Tickets are on sale now. Or you like I said, you can go to Eventbrite.com and the ticket will be sent to you electronically. So you'll have them in your phone, in your iPhone, in your wallet, or if you have an Android. But we'll send you tickets too, I guess.
Okay. Did anybody else have any other questions for Matthew, Ms. McRed? We would like to thank you for joining us to our community Zoom meeting. We really enjoyed the conversation and learning more about just what you do and just what comedians do and your perspective on the comedy atmosphere in general, and then learning about how you got started. That was really interesting. And some of the people that was influential in in the progress of being a comedian. So we appreciate you. Thank you. Like I said, I want to attend on the 18th, I believe, the 18th. So I look forward to seeing you myself on that day. You do.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Well, good.
And right, those tickets.
Okay, and then we're gonna put, like I said, this is recorded, so we're gonna put on the YouTube page of what is it? Community Zoom. What is it, y'all? University Park Community Zoom. That's the YouTube page. And then if you have any other questions or need any assistance, it's u.p community Zoom at yahoo.com. I'm trying to remember myself. So if you wanted to like tag it so people can see your interview today on your page or something like that, that'd be great. That's okay. It's open to do it. Once I post it, I'll probably send you a text message with the video so you have it and you could, do whatever you want to help promote whatever. But it'll be out there. All right.
I got a question, Donna.
Oh, go ahead. Robin had a question.
Okay, Mac Red, did you have a flyer? Anybody got a flyer for that day? That comedy show day?
I do have a flyer. I don't know how you want me to send it, but I can definitely send a flyer out. It's all over my Facebook page.
Okay, send it to Donna.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. You got my information because I text you the information. So if you want to text it to me, then we are also posted on the next door for you.
Okay, sounds like
we could try to get as many, like you said, your family, University Park residents to come and attend.
We've had it on right?
I didn't see the flyer.
It gets buried.
Well, I'll the update flyer. It has all of the other comics on it as well now. So I'll send a new one.
Okay.
So Mac Red, I know Tony K personally, and he used to do him and BLT used to do the Christian comedy at our church maybe like 10 years ago. So Tony K been around for years. And when I tell you, hilarious, like one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, Tony K is definitely one of my nearest dearest friends. BLT is actually a comedic mentor of mine, so he's a good friend as well. So yeah, Tony's gonna be there. So make sure you come and say.
Yeah, so this is gonna probably be really good, y'all. I'm so happy that I got on here in time to hear that. Because we've been actually looking for Tony K to do some more stuff. I know he's been doing little stuff here and there because I talked to him over the summer last, and he was trying to put something together. So I know he's still been doing it, but COVID did mess a lot of things up. So I'm glad to see y'all back out there and you connected with them. That's the good people you connected with. So
with the
Tony is also.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Tony K. This has nothing to do with me, but this guy has a special place in my heart. Real quick, on March 5th, he's actually filming his first DVD comedy special. So if you guys wanted to go support him with that one, it's at Holy Temple Cathedral on March 5th. So make sure you guys support him as well.
Okay.
With the seating arrangements in purchasing the tickets, is it first come, first serve, or how is that?
Oh, well, it's general seating for the entire room. But the reason why we didn't do VIP seating this time is because literally every seat in the building is a phenomenal seat. It's a more intimate show. My last show was at a theater and it was, seats all the way to the rafters. So it's people way in the back kind of felt disconnected from the front row. But this one, it's a more intimate show. It's only about I'd say it's only about maybe a little under 200 seats. So it's real intimate, and it's a really nice little room. So yeah, it's just general seating. First come, first serve. I think only the front row is the only row that's reserved, but everything else is just open.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll make sure I send that information to you so you all can see the flyer and
Okay, great.
disperse it in your groups.
All right.
Yeah, I just pulled it up on Eventbrite.
Okay.
There you go.
Miss Lily, I'm gonna get a ticket from you. See if Joe wants to go, and I may get one for him too if he can be off of work.
Yes. Well, I have the tickets here, and it'll be wonderful to have some fun. We've had lots of things happening here in University Park, but all work and no play makes all of us dull. So we
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So,
Maybe she got a little froze there.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah. Let's not be dull, guys. Let's not be dull. Let's come out and support one of our own.
That's right.
You know, spread the word. Tell everyone. Tell even the officials, the government officials, the ones that you all like. Tell them to come on out.
You know, they have a thing where you can send in a public comment. So that's something that you might want to send to the village and let them know, you know, because you were born and raised here in University Park. So they should know as well. So they have that. They just had their meeting this past Tuesday. I think the next one is in 2 weeks.
yeah, March, the second Tuesday of March.
I think you said March the 2nd. So if
No, I
you
said the second Tuesday of March.
the second Tuesday of March. So that might be close. It might not. I don't know. But maybe you'll be able to put that out there. And then those that are seeing it can also know. And maybe those elected officials. But you can always send it to them ahead of time. And they can always pass it out to those in the office.
That'll be March 8th, it looks like.
March 8th. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you all for having me. It's been a blasty blast.
All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Bye, Matthew.
See you later, Mr. Russ. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too. I'm sitting up here listening to you, but I want everybody else to get their comments in because I know you from way back. And I've attended some of your shows. Christelle has her ticket already.
Yeah, I just saw that. I saw that email come through. Yeah, that warmed my heart right up.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to try to I'm going to get in touch with Ron about it too as well. So that the whole old gang used to be there from WPC TV.
when I had it down there. Yeah. Yeah, come on out. Come on out.
All right. Well, you have a good night, Matthew. Thank you.
All righty. See you all later.
All right.
Okay, then.
Good night.
Kiss the babies. Good night.